Welcome to another episode of That Crazy Triangle Guy. You're looking at the crypto market cap total 3 minus Bitcoin and Ethereum on the weekly time frame. This is what we got for this. This is the history we have going back to just July of 2017. So this was our bottom back in 2019. And this is our bottom currently. And I mean, you can just see the similarities. It's a reversal pattern, and it's a triple bottom reversal pattern, inverse head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. Now, one thing I want to note while we're here, if I could learn how to use this, let's get our little measuring device. Now, in this box is COVID crash. Now, if you don't remember how devastating that was, remind you, people were fighting each other over toilet paper and rubbing alcohol and cleaning products. They were completely wiped off the shelves. Couldn't get a lot of things in the grocery stores. It was a bad time. So my theory, or whatever, what I propose, is that you cut this out of the chart. Subtract this 4-month period, and you'll get price action that begins again where we left off over here. Now let's measure the distance between this point, bottom, and, well, let's go up so we can see better, and this bottom over here. That's 65 bars. Oh, I'm sorry. We are we're cutting that out. Oh my lord. Measure between this bottom right here and this bottom as if that box was not there. That's 53 bars. And let's go over here to where we currently are from this bottom, the first bottom, to our final bottom, 51 bars. So it's roughly identical when you subtract COVID out of there, the 4-month COVID period. And this is clearly a reversal pattern. I mean, it's textbook. So we are forming in a second shoulder or triple bottom, whatever you want to call it. This is the neckline, the white line here. As soon as we come up and break that, these dashed green arrows here represent the target for that, which brings us up to an interesting spot because we would be retesting. Well, we would find resistance here at our previous support level. So this makes perfectly sense to be our next move. And then we would probably retest this region in here, create some a base in here for support, and move on as we go. So let's bring up the Gaussian channel and see if I want to do that. So this makes also perfect sense with our Gaussian channel. I'm going to change this cursor to a little arrow. Here we are. If I zoom in, you can see what we're doing is we are testing the base of the weekly Gaussian channel here. And hopefully we find support, and then what we would typically do is then move up through this channel here. Let's see where our target was. Our target's way up here. So who knows how much time we're going to spend in here. Sometimes we just shoot straight through. Other times we spend some time testing the mean band or the top of the channel. Let's look at the daily and see how we're doing there. All right, this looks good too because on the daily, I got to press my button in the right spot. In the daily, we're sitting right here on the mean band. So the mean band of the daily Gaussian channel happens to coincide with the bottom of the weekly Gaussian channel. And those are good things that we're finding support here. And probably then move up through here. When we do dip in to these channels, we typically then move up and out. So there you go with that. Now, as we zoom in here, because we're looking at a whole over a year's worth of price action, zooming in, this lavender line that I've added is the not the FOMC, but the CPI numbers release August 10th, this coming Thursday, and I think that'll be a big catalyst for the movement as investors are waiting to see what if inflation is going to be sticky or if it's heading out the door or what it's doing. And unless it's really, really bad, I think after here we will see a movement upwards beginning or in possibly even heading into this here. And as you can see here on the Gaussian channel, we are just right at that mean band, testing that mean band at 337. On the weekly, I believe it's a little bit lower, maybe. On the weekly time frame, the bottom of the Gaussian channel is at 334. So we're right there in that range. In here, you can see on the weekly, we've come back up through it, naturally retesting it, as we did back here, and eventually fell back out. Now, another thing, too, is that a lot of times on these charts, and you'll see probably later on, we're attempting to bust up back through here too early, where the Gaussian channel is still sharply pointed downwards. And that's where you'll see rejections and where we fall back out. It's more when the Gaussian channel is flattening out and starting to eventually, beginning its, what will be its move back upwards, where you see successful navigation through it. Let's go back to the daily for a second. Anyway, that's where we're at on that. Then I believe we will follow this little squiggly line, even go back in time as this line does there. At this point, let's look at a couple articles I was looking. This is the Bitcoin ETF approval chart for the various entities that have applied, their filing dates. This is bitcoinmagazine.com, an article there. And so the final deadline for a lot of these for ARK is January. The others are in March of next year. But that's the final deadline. There are also various other deadlines. And so, we may see an approval as soon as September. One of these preliminary deadlines. I don't really necessarily know what any of these mean. Why there's 4 deadlines. I guess they would give them time to meet various criteria that the SEC would want to see. The other article I was reading was about Binance and how the DOJ is contemplating whether to file criminal charges against them or not. And this has been going on for a long time. This article is from December 12th, 2022, eight months ago. So this has been a long going battle between the Department of Justice and Binance over things that they did many years ago, and when they probably were lax in what they were doing. And since then, CZ has really hired a lot of people and cracked down on criminal activity within the as far as people using the platform to finance things and what have you and whatever. So Binance has made huge strides to try to do what is right, and so we'll just see what happens with that. We were there. So I wanted to take a look at various other of the altcoins, and I just picked a few. Now I'm invested in all these. I don't trade. I haven't traded anything. Not that I won't trade anything, but I essentially bought a majority of my crypto back in October, almost a year ago, and I'm just holding on because I don't know what's going to happen. I like to try to guess at what's going to happen, but I don't know. So these are just a few. This is AAVE. What's interesting is AAVE is forming this nice reversal pattern, just like we saw in now the crypto market cap. However, that's over a longer period of time, I believe. Let me just go on the weekly here. Yeah, that was a much larger. Yeah, this goes back to May of 2022. What is AAVE doing? Oh, it's the same. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's the same. So yeah, so the same kind of formation here. Now I've made everything very structured here. Now the problem with these is that we don't have a lot of past data to go off of. Why is this bouncing around all over the place? I'm trying to squeeze it in, and it's not doing it. The hell's going on here? Let me just go to a weekly time frame. Maybe I can't go anymore. It's really strange. Anyway, I've made everything very kind of symmetrical and geometrically pleasing, aesthetic. You can see it makes a big X, like Elon. It's making a big X. Anyway, I've made these nice parallel channels, and so that's what this triple bottom, these kind of things do, is that we are reversing out of a downtrend and into an uptrend. And you can see everything's pretty clean cut here on this chart. Now these other lines, I've gone ahead and added the in lavender, the CPI, future CPI data releases, and in blue, the upcoming FOMC meetings. You can see we don't have an FOMC meeting until September 20th. But you can see the points of, and I'm going to take this cursor off because it's annoying. You see the points of contact here, 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 here on this channel, as well as here and here and along here, more specifically here. But you can see where the price action is following, as well as the center line. A lot of times the center line of these channels is really what's key. And where much of the price action is in this one down here, and the outer ones are sometimes a little squishy, but also do. It's where the price comes down to and retest things. And naturally, so our natural move would be back up to the top of this channel if in fact that's where we're going. Now, what I see in many of these altcoins and in the entire market and in Bitcoin, what we're doing here is testing previous support and resistance levels from back before and during our previous high. And this red dashed line is where we currently are trading. So I think the next move upward here is we've thoroughly tested this range here and come back down. See, most recently we've come back down. Let me turn my cursor back on. We came down to here. And so that retested this previous low here, as well as support back here in this region. And now we're moving onwards and upwards, currently testing these support levels right here. And then I imagine we'll the next area of support and resistance, well, obviously this is a clear resistance level here. So I imagine we'll move upwards into this region right here between these two green lines and get rejected from this resistance and test this previous resistance for support and see what happens from there and trade in this region over here, which coincides with movement up this new parallel channel that we're forming. So that's AAVE. And as far as the prices, you can see what they are over here. The green areas is between about 115 and 92, 94. So, and we are currently at 65. So that's what I kind of see for the entire crypto market is a good 30 to 50% move for a lot of these coins in the next 2-3 month period. Here's Render. Render's seen some great moves this year, and currently, okay, same kind of reversal pattern here, moving back upwards. So we are on this green line, and we don't have a lot of history on a lot of these, unfortunately, but you can see kind of testing this area here, testing this previous support as well as this previous support here, resistance here, so that's significant. And back here there was some resistance and trading price action for a good week or so there. So on the daily Gaussian channel we have fallen out the bottom of that, which is okay. Let's look at the weekly. But you see, in previous times when we do fall out the daily Gaussian channel, we don't go very far before coming back into it. This is an exception back here. This is the bear market, of course, and lots of events that knocked us down between June and the end of last year. Let's go on the weekly and see where we're at with things. Okay, so see on the weekly, this is interesting. We're testing the top of the weekly Gaussian channel, which is currently at 164. And we only have a few minutes of the day left, so it looks like we will close probably. So we come up a couple cents. that we will close just inside the top there, which is probably okay. However, you know what? Let's look on the 5-day, because a lot of times, oh, I'm closing in the 5-day too. So we may come back down into here. We'll just have to see what happens. If we did come back down into here, let's see, 125 is where the mean band currently is. You know, I could foresee a pull back down to that area. 110. Let's see, this is coming upwards, so if it did start coming down, now I wouldn't put it out of the question to see it pull back down to 120. That would be quite a bit. I have to see if it holds. Now, however, you know, I really believe that this week the crypto market cap is going to, or the altcoin market is going to take off. So this isn't necessarily a death blow here that we've just come down a little bit into there. Of course, if we come up a couple cents in the next few minutes. Oops, I'm sorry, what am I doing there? It's not what I want to do. I want to go to the 5-day. Let's see where the 5-day is. The 5-day is up at 172. Let's see, on the 5-day we did wick down. We did close candles in here. And still, this day we closed a candle in, or this period we closed a candle in, and then came right back out to continue upwards. So that doesn't scare me as much now that I see that. All right, let's move on to MATIC. Now, MATIC, I initially looked at this and I thought, what the hell is going on with this token? It was just blowing through previous triangles and all sorts of stuff that I had drawn until I zoomed out a bit and I looked at this golden parallel channel that I made a long time ago, and it went all the way, goes back pretty far. Well, goes back as far as it can. And it contains price action here. Let me turn the cursor off. It was support or resistance right here. And we traded between the center line and the top of the channel here back in April, March 2021. And you can see, pull this down a little bit more, the purple center line here has been support throughout 2022 and into 2023. We've traded between the center line and the top of this channel, even coming all the way. Well, this was the bottom that I pulled it. I pulled the channel down to here, and when I did so, the center line appeared as support for this area here. Now, currently, we're on the weekly right now. But currently you can see that we're trying to find support along the bottom of this channel. So this seems to make more sense to me now that I see that. We are also currently have fallen briefly out of the weekly Gaussian channel, trying to get back into it. And you can see it's creating resistance for us here. So it's not a big deal. We'll just keep butting our head up against here until we get through. Let's go on the daily and look at what's going on here. And when you look at the daily, see, this is really, really nice and more reassuring because, as I pointed out before, where sometimes when we attempt to go through these channels and it's steeply coming downwards, we do get rejected and come back down. And what we're doing is, as this has flattened out, we are retesting the bottom of the channel. And I believe we'll find support here at the 66-ish region and come back up through. Nothing goes up or straight down, and everything oscillates. So when something comes down like this, it's natural that it's going to go back up. And that is this week. All these things lead to further support what I'm seeing in the charts. I just stopped and looked at my time. I'm running out of time, so I got to hurry up here. See if there's anything else I want to say about this. Who knows? Let's move on to HBAR. Now, I didn't really draw anything here on HBAR, but you can see what can you see? You can see where we're at right now. We're testing previous support levels, and we've gone up through there. Anyway, we're testing this range right here. We've come through the daily Gaussian channel. Now, earlier in the year, we saw quite a move for HBAR, and it's fallen back down. Even fell out here. But you can see the interactions with the channels here. It tried to go back up again through here when it was too steep, and what did it do? It fell back down to when it was more shallow, and it can somehow get through when it's more shallow like that. Traded in here, and it's moving up, and I think it's ready to move up again. That's the daily. Let's go to the weekly, see what that shows. Now, okay, this is interesting too, because on the weekly here, did try to get through, and it was steeper, and that's when we saw that rejection on the daily. And we weren't quite ready to go through there yet. And this is interesting because this was earlier in the year. And we weren't quite ready to get back up here yet. And so, yeah, we waited till it flattened out. So now we're going to make a move up through there and get up into a nice range for us. I see us coming up to like 10, 11 cents here as we move through this channel, and probably testing this range for a while. You know what? Yeah, in the near term, we'll probably test here between the mean band and the top of the channel, because I see support and resistance in the past that needs to be tested. So anyway, I better move on. That's what I'm looking at, and try to get something out to you soon on Bitcoin and what else is going on in the market. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We'll see you next time. Thanks.